Hey, Tom here. I'm down at Peacehaven on the coast, south coast, for the Seaford Striders Mince Pie 10-mile race. It's an annual race. It's very festive. Everyone's dressed in Christmas stuff. I'm not. I forgot to bring a hat. But I've done this before last year. It's a really tough race. I think it's almost 300 meters of elevation. I'm going to be testing out the Adidas Supernova Rise shoes. I've never tried them before, so this is the first time I'm taking them out. Right, I'm going to head over and get some stuff sorted out. See you in a bit.
Quick disclaimer before I do the video, I was sent these shoes, the Adidas Supernova Rise, by the guys over at Sport Shoes. I'm not paid to do this review, so I can say whatever I want, but a big thanks to the guys for sending these over so that I can actually test it for this race test. If you go into the caption below, you can find a link to the Sport Shoes website to find out more about this shoe. It is an affiliate link, so we do make some money if you buy it, but that does not affect our review of the shoe. Right, let's dive in and do the race test.
Yeah.
The run I've been out doing today is the Mince Pie 10 miles, which is a 10-mile race in Peacehaven near Brighton. And I've done it last year. And last year it was really cold, but the weather was very dry. So it was more like a road race that had some off-road sections that went over paths and things like that. So as my memory of that race is that it was pretty easy to run with normal shoes on. But this year it was very, very wet. We've had a lot of rain on the downs over the past few weeks, and it was very, very muddy. So the shoes that I wore were the Adidas Supernova Rise, which was an absolutely ridiculous shoe to choose because this is probably the least likely shoe I would pick for a trail race, just based on the outsole and how it's designed. So I'll talk about this shoe in a bit, but the race itself is a fantastic race. It's the 30th year it has taken place this year, and it's a 10-mile race that's sort of 8k on road and 8k on paths and fields. And in nice conditions, those paths and fields are actually not really easy to run on in road shoes. But today they weren't. It was very slippy, very wet, and it was quite a tough race as a result. So when you got to the top of the downs or the high sections in the race, the actual wind and the rain that were hitting you was quite heavy, so it was quite a tricky race from that point of view. There's also almost 300 meters of elevation in the race, so it's definitely not a race that is designed for a PB. It's quite a tough race, but it's a fun one as well. So it's called the Mince Pie 10 mile. It normally takes place a couple of weeks before Christmas, and it's really popular. A lot of people do it. And when you get into the Peacehaven Leisure Centre, everybody is dressed in like Santa outfits and elf outfits and things like that. There's mince pies ready to go when you cross the finish line. It's just a really nice event, and it's a really fun one as well. A lot of people don't tend to do it because they're trying to get a really fast PB. They're doing it because it's a nice day out, and you get to see some really nice scenery around the area as well. So you run around Peacehaven and some of the Downs trails, through a bit of the town as well. And the town is the bit that's got the really big hill section in. So last year I did it, really enjoyed it last year. Perfect day for it apart from the cold. This year it was also a fantastic day. It was just a lot harder. So well done everyone that took part today, because it was not an easy one. I was absolutely soaked by the end of it as I came home. And well done to all the Bright Phoenix guys who I spoke to as well, who did some good runs today from what I saw. So overall, fantastic event. And if you live near the south coast, it's well worth going along to that one, because it's one of those nice local events that's been going on for a very long time, organised by a local team. It's the Seaford Striders, the running club, who put it all together, and it's really well organised. Great marshals, all really friendly. Well worth giving a go if you want to try a race that's a little bit different. There's quite a few races like that on the South Coast that are quite taxing, but they're very fun as well. Right, let's dive into the kit that I used. So there was one shoe that I was testing today, and it was not the shoe that I should have picked for it. My memory of last year's race was that it was pretty easy and there wasn't that many trail sections. There were a lot of trail sections. There were about 8 kilometres of trail sections that, in the mud and the wet this time, were almost like cross country. I was slipping all over the place in the shoe, which is completely my fault because I shouldn't have worn a trail shoe. But I used the Adidas Supernova Rise, which is a new daily shoe that's out. Definitely not designed for trails. So what I found about this shoe is, I won't talk about the trail sections because it's completely unfair to use this shoe on the trails. It was my stupid mistake wearing this shoe for the trails. But on the road sections, about 8k on road. And what I found about it is that it's a solid shoe for ticking off the miles, and I was varying my pace in the race quite a bit. So there were a lot of downhills in the race, and I'd pick up my pace up to about 4 minute 10 kilometers, and there were some slower sections or sections where I was going relatively slow, which I was probably hitting about 4 minute 45 kilometers. And yeah, it was comfortable. It's definitely a shoe designed for comfort. There's lots of plush padding in it. The upper is really roomy. The midsole has this Dream Strike Plus foam in it, which is it's softer than what I'd expect from an Adidas shoe or a lot of the ones that I've tested in the past, and it's very comfortable as a result. It's very squishy if you're pressing your foot down in it. What I would say is that even though it's quite soft, it's not very bouncy. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of rebound coming off of it, which isn't a bad thing necessarily, but I like a soft running shoe, so I didn't get a lot of that from it. But it is a balanced foam. It does feel very comfortable. You're getting a little bit of softness. It's not the most responsive foam though, so I wouldn't say it was a shoe that is particularly well designed for running fast in. It's just a balanced workhorse for me. And on that 8 kilometers of that run where it was on road, it felt fine. I didn't even think about the shoe really. I just sort of picked up my pace as I was going along, and it felt like it could handle comfortable paces. And even those ones where I went a little bit faster, it felt okay on that run. I didn't feel like it was really stopping me. So overall, it felt like a good shoe for the road sections. I definitely wouldn't race in this shoe normally. I'd normally use a carbon plate shoe. But the price of this shoe comes in at about £130 in the UK. That's pretty good price for a daily shoe now. A lot of shoes are getting really expensive at the moment, as you're probably aware. So it sits at the lower end of the pricing for these sort of daily shoes at the moment, which is a really good call, I think, from Adidas, because I think it is a solid shoe. And if you are the sort of runner that just wants a really comfortable, solid workhorse daily shoe for your easy runs, for your daily runs, for your recovery runs, all those sorts of things, I think it's absolutely fine. And I'd probably even go as far to say that if you're the sort of runner that maybe isn't going for ridiculously fast PBs, where you might want a carbon plate race shoe, and you just want to sort of cross the finish line in comfort, it's probably an okay shoe for that. I think it could probably tick a few boxes for different types of runners. But it's not a wow shoe. It doesn't do anything particularly impressive. It's not massively cushioned. It's not bouncy. It's not responsive. It's just comfortable. It's just a comfortable, solid daily shoe that if you bought this, you'd be fine with it. And you'd probably use this for most of your runs and you wouldn't mind it at all. I just don't think there's anything exceptional about this shoe, which for the price is not really to be expected anyway. The outsole on it was fine for most of the run, although it was quite a lot of elevation today. So on some of the road sections where it was wet, I did find it was a little bit slippy on a couple of bits, and I think it was probably to do with this midsole section, which is a little bit smoother than the front and back rubber sections. There's actually quite a lot of rubber, 3 different types of rubber on the outsole of this, and I think it was that midsole one that just felt a little bit slippy for me, but it was fine on most of the sections. It was absolutely fine, and today was a little bit of it's probably not a test that is fair to do with a shoe like this, because it's a little bit technical even on some of those road sections, because it was a little bit steep. Other than that, I just say it was a solid shoe out on the run today, apart from the trail sections, which I've said I'm not going to mention. And I'm looking forward to doing some proper testing with it over the next few weeks. Sometimes when I get a shoe and I'll use it for the first time, I'm not looking forward to running it again. This one I don't really mind running it again. I'm not massively looking forward to it, but equally I'm not wanting to run in it either. I think it's just going to be one of those shoes that you can pick up and wear and it's fine, but doesn't really do anything exciting. That's it from me. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, click that little bell, and check the channel out for all the other videos we've got coming up over the next few weeks. Also, if you go into the caption below, you can find a link to the Adidas Supernova Rise on the Sports Shoes website, where there's loads more information about it. Thanks a lot for watching. Catch you next time.